Inside prediction markets.
I'm a little upset that you look like super professional and I just have a t-shirt on. I don't feel like...
I'm a little overdressed today. Saks is going out of business. I got some discount dress shirts.
Got it.
For the show.
Got it.
I should have called you up. We should have done a little shopping trip together.
Yeah, we both need it. But
I need your wife's phone number because you're not responding to that message. But I could get her to drag you.
That is correct.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna try starting with some organized thoughts each week, so we know where we're going, and we're gonna start off with the three big things that caught our eye this week. You want to go first?
Yeah, I think the first is what just happened literally a couple hours ago, which is Michael Selig basically saying states can't encroach on the CFTC.
Over the past year, American prediction markets have been hit with an onslaught of state-led litigation. In response, the CFTC has today filed a friend of the court brief to defend its exclusive jurisdiction over these derivative markets. To those who seek to challenge our authority in this space, let me be clear. We will see you in court.
It's been a clear character shift or mandate shift in that the CFTC is allowing prediction markets and states can't mess with them. States are trying to argue that they should have jurisdiction over, they should be under the gaming tax, et cetera, et cetera. And
which states are getting fired up about this?
The first big one was obviously Nevada.
Nevada's mad.
Yeah, and it makes sense why they're
but they're not the only one.
No, I mean, I think I saw Maryland today. Oh, Maryland issued today a warning that if anyone with a gaming license tried a prediction market, they would get their license revoked. Right. Which is it's an interesting battle. So it's now...
That's why you see DraftKings predicts, I think FanDuel too, only being offered in states that don't have regulated OSB, right? Yeah. So what does that mean for Kalshi and Poly market, though?
I think this is extremely bullish for them. I don't know how you could take this any other way. I mean, we always thought there was going to be a battle between the states and the CFTC, or is this even legal to have sports contracts, et cetera, et cetera. And the answer is leaning heavily towards yes, it is legal.
So the status quo 2 to 3 years ago was the CFTC has not come out in favor of prediction market contracts or vocalized support, but there are indications they might sit on their hands and see how things unfold, right? That was the ecosystem that Kalshi really took off under. Selig's a relatively recent appointee. Yep. And so to be explicit and say, no, this is our jurisdiction and we're going to fight for the businesses in this space is a new thing. Huge win.
Who does this help? PMs or sportsbooks?
This absolutely benefits prediction markets hugely, bigly. For sportsbooks, to the degree that you consider the current business environment a zero-sum game between the sportsbooks and the prediction markets, you don't like to see this. One out for DraftKings and FanDuel and all the other sportsbooks is that the prediction markets get crushed and they just, retake the space in the vacuum. But that's not their only play. There is a real world where those businesses evolve into the prediction market space. So I don't think this is necessarily a death sentence for them, but they've got to be smart.
DraftKings and FanDuel might go to California and Texas and say, hey, we could give you more revenue, tax revenue, if you legalize sports betting. Why don't you do that? And California and Texas might not want to do that, and then it becomes a prediction market dominant place. And those are huge populations. Even if you don't like prediction markets, is a positive. More options is always better because more competition breeds better results for the consumer.
I think some people would be concerned about consumer protection, right? We have friends who would say this is a disaster because you're enabling people to do things with their money that they should be protected from doing. We're going to hear a lot of that.
Look, you can make that argument, but I've had so much on the responsible gambling side of sportsbooks. It is so fake and so...
You're saying the existing RG programs offered by sportsbooks are so poor
that I just don't buy that as an argument. Yeah. You're going to be better served if you're going to get an average better price, and you're going to get an average better price when there's more competition. If you are only in a state with Hard Rock in, they can offer whatever BS price they want and just collect off of you. If they have to compete with 6 other prediction markets and sports books, they can't just offer the worst price and get away with it. Customers will eventually leave. I mean, people act as if recs are price insensitive. For the most part, they are, but there is some amount of price sensitivity.
Next up, last week, DraftKings.
Yes.
Earnings call. Not good.
Very not good.
Every number lower than it's supposed to be. Lower than the revised down estimates.
No. I get this confused too. The numbers were actually quite good. It was the guidance that was bad.
Okay.
At least that was my understanding of it.
All right.
Because I remember asking some people in the finance space why companies smash earnings and go down. Yeah. It's guidance. DraftKings was expecting to improve. Everyone was expecting them to say, we're going to be improving this much into 2026, et cetera, et cetera. Right, and DraftKings revised those guidance down. So they actually beat the numbers they projected last year, but they're like, we're not going to improve that much. And people were betting on DraftKings being a massive growth stock, and it hasn't. When they revise numbers down and it's still in the early growth stages, you get freaked out.
Yeah, they've had like a 30% decline, something recently. The market cap is down to about $10.5 billion.
Kalshi has passed them,
which is a hair under where I think both Kalshi and Polymarket traded. So the first question: if you could only own equity in one of DraftKings, Polymarket, and Kalshi, all at the same price, where are you parking your money?
I'm gonna go with Kalshi 1.
Buy Kalshi.
Buy Kalshi. Hold DraftKings. Sell Poly.
Yeah, I feel kind of similar too. Let's stick with DraftKings for the time being. Why hold on DraftKings? Why are you not?
Look, as much as I dislike DraftKings as a company, and I think they do a lot of things wrong, they still have an incredible infrastructure. They're clearly the number 2 sportsbook in America besides FanDuel, and it's very close. You could argue that they're 1, depending on how you look at some metrics. And that consumer base and recreational customer hold is just so valuable. It's hard to think they go below this. Like, at the very least, I feel like they could sell their company to a Kalshi or to like a Robinhood for their customers for a couple billion. So that creates a nice floor. Whereas
I don't think that's what the investors want to hear. But continue.
No. Right.
Yeah.
And then the question is, can they actually use that to earn? They haven't done it so far, but maybe they turn it around. And you have to, when the risk to reward there is just so great, in my opinion. Like, maybe they get sold for like $5-6 billion at the worst case. It's like, but they could go up to theoretically 100, 200 billion if they do everything right. So that risk to reward at a $10 billion market cap is just very, very good.
We talked about how prediction markets could, in the abstract, be an opportunity for the OSB operators.
Yeah.
Do you think, as Jason Robbins tried to claim, that DraftKings is uniquely positioned to thrive in prediction markets, both as a consumer application and product and as a market maker, or in any other functionality?
Absolutely not. That's such a laughable statement.
I don't think so either, yeah.
Okay, market maker. What market making are they doing? It's terrible.
Yeah.
I love talking about how their algorithms are so elite and everything like that. Their numbers move off of Pinnacle and Circa and Chris. What are we talking about here? And have they been able to earn off of their customers? They just boot out sharps, not even that well, and that's how they earn. So they haven't shown any like competence in that regard. So I don't know why they're uniquely shaped to do it. If FanDuel said it, I would buy it. FanDuel, I believe. DraftKings, I don't.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you agree with FanDuel or?
I do, yeah. And I'm hearing more and more that a lot of these operators, including mid-level groups, are running trading teams on the other venues kind of quietly, just seeing how things work, building different pods, kind of approaching it as people have done TradFi in the past.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how all that shakes out.
What's your third thing for this week?
Okay, I'm going to bring back your buy Kalshi, sell Polymarket take. But I'll start with the Polymarket, the free grocery store in New York, which Kalshi front ran by giving away $50 grocery gift cards. So my first 2 impressions, always try not to be haters, but why is Kalshi still doing the like front running little brother thing to Polymarket.
Oh, but they claimed it wasn't front running, which is so laughable.
We all know it kind of sort of started as a Polymarket clone. Fine. The edge was in regulation, and that's a real edge. You can't hand wave that away. At some point, you've got to start acting like a grown-up and just let them have their grocery store, right? That was weird. Polymarket, where is the U.S. product? What is going on? Now, they just opened up the U.S. API, right? Yesterday.
Oh, they did?
Yes. Somebody just sent me tweets about it. The Polymarket U.S.-facing regulated product has sat in beta for so long, and we're just not hearing anything about it, and it feels like the company is losing steam. And that's just kind of the vibe I'm getting. We've heard nothing about the airdrops. I mean, they never made any promises about airdrops, but I'm waiting.
Well, I
for
did say
big
they
news.
registered for a token or whatever.
Yes, so maybe things are starting to turn, but it's felt like 2 to 3 months of kind of no news from Polymarket, which is not a great sign considering the amount of capital they have to deploy. Is that where your buy sell comes from, or why don't you make your buy sell case?
That is basically exactly what it comes from. I think what Polymarket, my read on the situation is what Polymarket is realizing is their whole brand has been, we can do it offshore. We don't have to deal with these regulations. Their edge has always been they get the crypto bros. It's easy to use, no KYC. And now they try to enter KYC. That's like against their core. Like, all their users are happy to use Polymarket because it's like no KYC. And now they're like,
KYC of course stands for know your customer, meaning providing social security numbers and proof of who you are. Yeah.
And so it's like, I think they kind of realized, like, wait a second, I don't know if I want to do the U.S. market, but if they don't want to do the U.S. market, how can they really grow? Like, how do they justify the $10 billion cap if they're not a U.S. product? Yep. You can't just we wouldn't recommend it, but if you wanted to use a VPN in America and use Polymarket, like, that can't be their whole business model. That's not how you get recreational customers to there. If someone wants to go trade $50 on a game or $100 or something on any random event, they might not be able to use crypto. And there's a lot of people like that. So they lose all those customers, which Kalshi is going to gobble up.
Yeah. I agree 100% that the nature of regulated, highly monitored PM business is not in the DNA of Polymarket.
Yeah.
And you see the fans talk about how decentralization solves everything. There's no such thing as decentralization when you answer the CFTC.
Yeah.
Like, there's a bunch of stuff that has to go away. But I don't think that the spiritual mismatch is the problem. It's a leadership problem. I mean, the regardless of whether or not your American product fits the ethos you've established, it needs to be out there, and you need to be driving customer acquisition, and you need to be making big flashy hires that are making that train move. And I agree with you that we've got a little skid where we haven't seen it. Now look, these things happen, right? Like there's a bunch of things that could be happening under the hood that they're getting cleaned up right now, and everything gets going.
So what are you noticing about prediction markets in general? In terms of
Well, a few things have stood out. I think the Super Bowl into the All-Star game have shown a clear swing in proportional volume on what we would call novelty markets that traditional sportsbooks would have very low limits on and limited activity on. The appearance markets, there were a lot of controversies with settlements around who would perform at the Super Bowl and some things like this. But overall, those markets did really good volume and actually drove narrative.
Yep.
And I think the PM ecosystem is in part driven by 100 comments for every $1 risked, right? Like that mind share thing is really important. And I think that continued with the NBA All-Star Game, although the NBA All-Star Game is such an awful product that...
Well, it was pretty good this year, mostly because of Wemby.
The game was better, but the dunk contest is still no good.
Yeah.
So what I'm interested in, we've talked about this in sports for a long time. college sports have been resistant to player props for a lot of good reasons, which has prevented the introduction of same game parlays and these long shot lottos from taking off with them like they have, especially the NBA and NFL. And so where NBA and NFL tickets in 2025 and 2026 look a lot different than they did 10 years ago, college basketball roughly looks the same. But I wonder if this year's March Madness tournament, with the advent of PMs, do we start seeing a lot more interesting markets out there that kind of create a college basketball 2.0 ecosystem?
I mean, I could totally see. I think the problem with like player props has always been you would get some kid that has 0% to make it even to the EuroLeague playing D1 college basketball. Hey, buddy, you want to make 10K? Don't score 12 points today. Like, that is such a huge, massive risk. But if you take like Duke player Cameron Bouger, who's going to get drafted potentially number 1 overall, do you want to make 10K and potentially throw your career away? Probably not. Probably not. You could see props on like in the March Madness, like those stars, 20 plus, 25 plus, over unders getting like that would make a ton of sense to me. And it could also hedge some real exposure too, and unironically, because like you could actually, if you're his agent, you might actually consider taking the unders, because if he underperforms, it might hurt his draft stock.
And I think this year we will see everybody continue rolling with appearances, who's going to be at the game.
Yeah.
Mentions, obviously. But if that creates a new kind of baseline of, well, here's the variety of kind of entertainment categories that maybe have more appeal than, college basketball does not have a lot of appeal. I know it's a big,
and March Madness it does.
March Madness is a big thing, but it's like some ESPN2 sports stuff, relatively speaking.
Again, the problem with that is because there's 300 schools, and like the bottom 200, all of their players are just awful. I mean, like, look, they're much better than me, and the top like 2%, 1% of their sport. But like, relatively speaking, compared to like the top 50 schools, they just suck so much compared to them, and it's just not like pleasant to watch. Whereas like some of these like top 25 schools, when they go head to head, great games, like very exciting, good to watch, and it's a great product. But so much of the percentage is a bad product. I mean, I think we see that in the NBA. Just look at the volume of like, if it's the Pelicans versus the Pacers this year, no one wants to watch that. But if it's the Thunder versus Spurs, holy shit, sign me up. I want to watch. Like, it's great.
On your end, trends you're noticing in prediction markets, where things are going?
It's funny. I'm seeing a lot less of the arbitrages being offered. I think, last year, if I reflect on last year, basically all I was doing was post an ARB to the market and have it show up on the odd jam screens, the bookie beats screens, etc., and have people come and, fill my order. Everyone is caught on. If there's a 10K order on some players under or some players over, you're like, some sharp nose, and then everyone goes and trades it on their own site. And I think people are getting more and more creative with how they're attacking it.
Be careful about what you say next.
Yeah, exactly. I'll leave it at that. But people are being very smart about it. They're disguising their action very well.
Yeah.
And we've reached level 2, in my opinion. Like, the base level was any idiot can do it. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out if you pay 5 cents worse than the market, you can get filled by posting ARBs. Now we're into, how do you get a lot of money down on these markets?
Right. Yeah, agreed. We didn't even mention your appearance in the Vice sports betting documentary came out, which was awesome. You looked great.
Thank you.
They hyped you up. I love the footage of you betting at home.
Appreciate that. I will say there was a paid actor. The flower vase is not normally there.
Oh, really?
Yes. My
wife shuffled that.
My
in.
wife was like, "Come on over there." And then the big disappointment was our sweet angel Teddy, our new puppy that we got, did not make an appearance, and she was pretty upset.
I heard that was important to her, and that she was very disappointed. So yeah, was there anything that you wish had gotten into the show, or that you thought could have been fun but didn't make it?
there's some stuff that I can't even say. Like, you know, I would never do this hypothetically, but if you have like other accounts, like a friend is you're consulting them, I wouldn't like. You can't talk about that, and that's stuff I think is really what matters, and it's fun. And the kind of like talking about how I got limited from these books. It's like you can't really mention like, oh, I'm limited, but I'm still able to bet there. Right. You can't mention those.
Do you have a good limited story you want to tell?
Yes. When my start to hold the sports betting was still Odds Jam. And I will say it was funny. I was using Bookie Beats and Unabated and the Vice, and they showed an Odds Jam screen, which I was not using. I don't know why they put that in. Whatever. I'll give them credit because without Odds Jam, I would never be here where I am right now. But I was loving it. I was like, I could not believe how it was literally like something pops up in the EV screen, click a button, you bet money, and you win. I mean, like long term, I mean, you don't win every day, but it was like incredible. I'm up like, 30, 40,000 on DraftKings. I couldn't believe it. And I remember because I was working in a SCIF, which is I had a security clearance for the federal government, and I couldn't bring my phones in, but I had alerts attached to my email, and I would get an alert, and then I would leave the SCIF, run out to my car to bet. So I ran
back
out,
when this stuff wouldn't move. It would just sit there.
Yeah, it would sit there for it would be like this obscene like arbitrage to Pinnacle, and it would like you could just wait. It would be there for like 10 minutes. So I would run out to my car, and I remember running out to my car trying to click $1,000. That's what I was betting, and it was like $12.71. That is your limit. I was like, this is the end.
Yeah.
I'm done. What happened? Like, I can't believe it. Wait, do you have a good limiting story?
Do I have a good limiting story? I've good limiting stories from like paper head bookies. Can we tell those stories?
I mean, sure, why not?
All right, so my getting limited, I think the stories of getting limited by bookies is way funnier than sports books because their reasoning is always so funny.
Yeah.
And more than once I've had to self-limit. Like they've agreed to let me keep going, and I've been like, nah, I think our time is up here. And so one of those times, I had a slate of PGA matchups. I played like 9 of them or something, and I did a round robin. I always do round robins with those, just added exposure, kind of easier to manage. And the bookie calls me up on Monday and says he had almost a dozen guys on his book play the exact same matchups, exact same ones. And I still had an account. And he says, I kicked everybody off, but you were the only guy who did this round robin thing, which makes me think that you're like different somehow. So I'm gonna settle up with you, but the rest of them are gone. I just wanted you to know this happened. I was like, thank you very much.
Did you get paid?
I got paid. And I said, I think we can conclude everything from this point forward.
So you probably won more because you played in a round robin.
I don't know if we even, we must have done pretty well, all things considered.
That's incredible.
But yeah, +1 for the round robins. Round robins have saved me so much just because the tickets are so confusing to bookies. They cannot tell what they're looking at.
It is so funny how round robins have gone from like kind of a rec thing to... If you play a round robin,
I know you're mega sharp.
if I see a round robin in an account, I'm like, okay, 90% this guy is sharp, and then like you have to unless the round robin is super obviously square, I'll be okay. But if it's not, okay, you're sharp.
Okay, all right, that's gonna wrap us up for this week. It's good to be back. We have a slate of guests coming up.
Next week we have a good guest. He's featured in the Wall Street Journal.
Oh yeah. That'll be awesome.
He allegedly lost $100,000 on the Super Bowl, so we have to hear about that.
The come up will be even more beautiful. All right, until then, thanks.
All right.